We talked about before how we use the median and the IQR to describe center and spread, but whenever you are using the mean to describe center, its partner is standard deviation to describe spread. Standard deviation takes into account how far each value is away from the mean. So standard deviation is almost like an average amount of the distance every value is from the mean. There's some notation that you need to be aware of. S is the standard deviation. That's the letter we use for standard deviation to describe the spread. S equals 0 only happens when there's no spread. So this would literally be a dot plot that's just one thin stack of dots. So that doesn't happen very often. So usually S has to be greater than 0. You're never going to have a negative standard deviation. And a standard deviation should also have the same units as the original measurement. So if you're doing it in minutes or money or whatever you're doing, standard deviation would also be in minutes. And finally, since standard deviation is not a resistant measurement, it will be pulled strongly up, meaning it's going to increase by either outliers or skewness. Later in the year, we're going to learn about something called variance, which is also important. But for right now, just realize it's part of the standard deviation formula. And that's what all of this is leading up to, this final formula here. We're going to go through the steps, but just realize that for the most part, you will almost always use technology to find standard deviation. But you still just need to know the steps, and you need to be familiar with this formula in case you ever see it. So we talked about this before. Is standard deviation a resistant measure? No, since it is influenced by skew and outliers. When should you use mean and standard deviation? This would be for any distribution that could be described as being symmetric or roughly symmetric. You should use mean and standard deviation. If it's a really, really strange graph that may not be symmetric, you kind of want to see if the data is pushed or pulled one direction or the other. In that case, it would be a sort of skewed distribution, and we would use median and IQR. So for any distributions that are skewed or have extreme outliers, then you definitely want to use the median or the IQR, because those values will influence your mean and your standard deviation. All right, we're actually going to go through all the steps to finding standard deviation. It does say to show all the work for finding the mean, so let's show some work. I simply put a plus in between all of our values, and I found that our sum is 504. Next, I'll take that 504, divide by 10, and I get 50.4. It's important, don't round that, it's 50.4. Next, we're going to find our deviations, and it tells you right here what to use. Now, I'm not sure why they called it Y bar, but they are using a Y here instead of an X, which is a little unusual, but it could happen. Anytime you see a variable with a bar over it, that means it's your mean. The deviations, we're going to take all of these numbers and we're going to subtract Y bar, which is 50.4, from them. It's important you understand what a deviation is. It's just how much deviation is each value in your data set away from the mean. All right, so take a moment to write down all of those deviations, and then the next step will be to square them. In the next step, we took those deviations, squared them, and we got a lot of numbers. So take a moment to do those. And then I will finally add those all together and get a sum here. So all of those will be added. So after I've taken a moment to add all those together, aren't you glad I did all this for you? It was 750.4. Now, just an interesting side note, if I were to find the sum of the deviations, the sum will always be 0. I want you to think for a moment, why would the sum of the deviations be 0? It's okay if you couldn't think of that on your own, but remember the mean is the average of all the values. So if we just take all the distances either in the positive or negative direction away from the mean, then when I add those all together, those distances will all cancel each other out and become 0. We're down to just 2 more steps. There's no directions here for us, but to find the variance, what we need to do is we need to take that sum and we need to divide by our count minus 1. So what that is we're going to take 750.4 divided by 9, and this is going to give us our variance. I'm going to give a few extra digits here just to make sure I don't get any rounding errors. So I've got 83.3778 is our variance. That's going to become a very important value later on in the year. But to get the standard deviation, we're going to take the square root of the variance. So since we were calling variance s squared, then the standard deviation will be the square root of s squared. So we end up with 9.131 being the standard deviation of the test scores that we were given. And if we think about this, this makes sense. When I look back at these values right here, these are my original values. So if standard deviation is described by being the average difference, so of the average distance of how far these values are from our mean. And our mean, if you remember, was 50.4. Then this really is making sense as to what we're looking at here. It's saying that the average distance from our 50.4 is about 9 points. And it really makes sense when you think about it. So that's standard deviation. That's how you calculate it. Will you ever have to do that on an AP exam? Nope. But you just need to understand the process of deviations, variance, that there's a sum involved, that there's a square root involved. Those things